Hi everyone, this is Phoebe Nubisi, and today we are going to build our first local rack by retrieval augmented generation. I am so excited about it. Yes. So our first local rack app, what it will do is that we will feed it with our own document and it will answer questions. Yes. So we will paste some text for this time. We will not put maybe PDF or documentation docs, Excel, and those kind of stuff. We will just put some text, any policy document manual, and then we will ask some questions. How does it work? So once you put the text, there is an embedding model that we will use that will using ChromaDB. ChromaDB it stores a document as an embedding and it uses a default embedding model. I believe I have it somewhere here. Maybe not here, but it has a default model that it executes per default, but when you use it for the first time. Let me see if I have that name of the model here. I don't have the name here. Yes, it's here. All Mini LML6V2. Yes. So this is the default embedding model that ChromaDB uses per default. That's what we are going to use here. And then it stores them and retrieves only relevant chunks when the user queries. And it stores those documents as individual items inside a collection. Yeah. And then llama is our store is the place where we use to query our large language model so that it can display the response that was furnished by the ChromaDB. And then the stream LIT provides a web interface with text, with buttons, a little bit like HTML. And then LangChain is the Python framework that allows us to build applications with large language model. It's so powerful. So I have made some more research on that. So it helps to connect large language models with tools, with prompts, with memory, with retrieval systems, any knowledge base. It acts a little bit like Copilot Studio because I have built a lot of applications using Copilot Studio. The difference between LangChain and Copilot Studio is that Copilot Studio is low code. It uses a visual designer and is for the Microsoft Power Platform is owned by them. It's not an open source, so you pay for a subscription and is primarily having some models like Anthropic, OpenAI, and more, Copilot Studio, and it's a drag and drop visual editor. Integration, it makes integration with a lot of application and external API and MCP, even with custom connector, and is configured through UI. It's not highly supported using VS Code or local Pro Code, I mean. Yes, so it is more adapted for the Microsoft ecosystem. But now LangChain is code first and is a Python framework. It's open source, so you don't pay for it. Yee. So it supports a lot of LLM like OpenAI, Olama, Anthropic, and more. And we use Python for the workflow design, of course, integrations. It integrates with a lot of vector DBs databases, custom APIs, tool, Python libraries, and you have more control over it, more control on the prompt, retrieval, memory, agents, everything. And it's best for custom AI workflow research and flexibility. So we are going to build the first one. We create what is called rackapp.py file. This is the structure it imports. Olama here is like a client for our server Olama that we downloaded in our local machine to be able to use the large language models like we spoke about in my first video. If you haven't watched that, go and watch it. We import ChromaDB. Here I'm explaining the code that we are going to run in a bit. Import ChromaDB, that's our vector database that store all our document in terms of list of numbers that are called vectors, and then using embeddings models, and it has a default model that I showed you before. And then we import Streamlit. I believe that's how we pronounce that. We import that. It helps also to have a design, a graphical design, and put a header and put some text, some buttons to have interactive UI. And then, yes, we define the client here, ChromaDB.client. We define our collection, that's our database of ChromaDB. And we say client.get.create collection. So the collection is called My Docs. You can give it any name that you want. And then we give a title to our Streamlit, and we call it local rack. And then we give a subheader at your document. We put a little text area and say, put the document that you have. And then you can save it. Once you save it, it creates a new ID that is called doc1 inside the doc text. The doc text, remember, doc text, I believe here is this text area. It takes this response that you have given, it attributes an ID, and it adds it to the collection. The collection is none other than our ChromaDB database, vector database. And then we have another subheader where you can ask question. It has a text input. Once you ask question and you click this button, get answer. Once you click that button, it queries the collection that is our ChromaDB database. You put your question here, and the result count should be 1. And then the document, it takes the response that is a table, so it would take the index 00, and then we call our Olama client, and we call any model that you want. Here I call the tree. It's really slow, but we might try it and you will see how it behaves. And we give the message, the role system. For the system, we say answer using only the context. The context is the result of the relevant document that we have retrieved from our ChromaDB, and then we take the content of the question of the user and it will write the answer. So it will be the response from the message and the content. That's what we give to the user. And to run that application, we call Streamlit run rack.app. So we have everything. So let's go to our script in VS Code. So this is the script here. It's the same code. I have made some modification because if I have kept this one, let me paste it so that you can see. If I had kept this code, if I had kept only this line, it will have been an issue because each time that we will rerun the script, it's not cached. It's not cached, yes, the vector database, so it will be created one more time. So it will create a new folder all the time, and we don't want that. So we cache it, the chroma collection, so it does not recreate unnecessarily. And we use this st.cache resource, and then we put that function there and we make it persistent, so it will just keep adding new element. And if there's no new element, it will stay the same. So it will not create a new database. And then we get that collection. Of course, we put the title. This is where we get we take the text area, we get what the user has put in when he clicks save document, and we check also if it's empty. So this trip is like a trim function. When you have other programming language, it removes empty spaces before and after what you have written, and if after removing them it has nothing, so this is this function. If not clean, it will ask the user to enter some document text first, and then it will run. If it has value, it will run collection upset. That means if it already exists, it will update that ID. If that ID doesn't exist yet, it will insert it, and then it will say document saved successfully. And if it has an error, it will give the error here. So that's why we use try and except. And then I already explained this one. The user asks a question with this text input, and we retrieve here with the get answer button. And we also put a spinner saying search in document while it's getting the result. And if there's no result, if return document 0 is supposed to be a table, if it's empty, we will say there's no relevant context. But if there's result, we send this and we put the response to the user. Pretty simple, right? Let's test it right now. So what I would do, I would say stream let run rag app dot py. I need to stop the other system that I already had open so it works correctly. I will show you the response in Explorer. So this is it in Explorer. If you have noticed, each time that I run it, it opens a new window. It doesn't just update what was already there. So it's asking me to put a text here and ask a question about the text. So I will copy and paste a text. I'm still getting the text to test. All right, so I found the text. So this is our procurement policy, and I will save the document. So this policy establishes a consistent, transparent, and auditable process for purchasing goods and services. It is designed to ensure that purchases are necessary, appropriately authorized. Yes. So we are going to ask questions. The model that I have used here is Llama 3.2 because Phi was really slow. So I have some questions here for that document that I'm going to ask now. I will say, I'll ask the question, what is the no purchase splitting principle and why does it matter? So when I click it, it's generating an answer. And also notice that this is not advanced. When I paste the text, I save the document, it does not empty, Swimlake does not empty the text area, so it's there. In the next video, we are going to improve how it looks. So it's looking for the information. One thing to notice is that it's not very speedy. Yeah. So why it does that? Why it does that? Let's come back to VS Code. This is a comma DB, so this is where it put all the items here when you run the app. I had to change the question because it was not giving an answer. So I changed the question. I said, what is the main purpose of procurement and purchasing policy? It says, according to section 1 of the policy, the main purpose of this procurement policy is to establish a consistent, transparent, and auditable process. And it's showing the retrieval context. This is where it has taken all the information. It shows the document. So now if I delete it, I don't have a chat version. I don't have any switch, so I will ask another question. Oh, I have asked the same question. I should ask a different question. Who does this policy apply to? Does it cover contractors, consultants, or just employees? It says, according to the policy section 2 scope, the policy applies to employees, contractors, department agents who request, approve, source, order, receive, or pay for goods or services on behalf of the organization. So yes, this policy covers contractor and consultants as well, in addition to employees. Next question. What type of purchases fall under this policy? Does it cover technology subscription and emergency purchases as well? Let's see what it says. It's running. So it has answered the question according to the provided context. This policy applies to operating purchases, capital purchases, services, subscriptions, consulting, technology, maintenance. Yeah. So operating purchases. Oh, it lists again everything. And it says regarding emergency purchases, the policy does mention emergency purchasing in section 12. However, it only provides guidance for emergency purchases under specific circumstances, such as situation where delay will create an immediate and material risk. It appears that technology subscriptions are not explicitly mentioned as a separate category. Cool. The last question that we are testing here. Are there any circumstances where this policy will not apply to a purchase? So the answer is according to the policy, this policy applies to operating purchases. However, it's mentioned in section 3.2. Formally approved policies may supersede or exempt specific circumstances from this policy. Additionally, some categories are noted to have specialized reviews, which might imply that the standard purchasing process under this policy does not apply for these categories. Cool. So guys, we have tested this and we have used this one, llama. So we can also use Quen as well. I wish I can have um, the full name of Quen. I was looking for this. So what I will do, I will stop the run and I will run it again. Just to test that one, that model, but it's just in terms of writing the output. To be honest, it should not be different. Let me close it and run it again. I will just ask a question for the last question, or I will ask a new question. It's fine. I would say, is there conflict between what this policy document says and what is configured in the approval rule table in Dataverse? Which one takes precedence? It's true that it doesn't have the context of Dataverse table, so I doubt that it will talk about any conflict. Need to find another question. Let's see what it says first. Let's see what it says. So here we are testing the Quen LLM. For some reasons, it didn't give me an answer for the first question. I put another question: what are the responsibilities of requester when submitting a purchase request? And it says when submitting a purchase request, the requester is responsible for providing complete and accurate information, including business certification, requested date, vendor details, if applicable, a description of goods, services. And we have to say it took me 5 minutes just to get this answer. it search the document very quick, but the large language model takes a lot of time to write the answer. But yes, we have tested our first application. We did it. And now in the next video, we are going to make it even visually more powerful. Thank you. See you in the next video.